Okay, we are started. Secret Squirrels, what is it, episode 8 now. We've been on for over a week's worth of material. We are the backstage crew behind Dr. Corsi's and working on the Corsi Nation website. And this show that we're starting, this is a second show, the kind of spin-off from Dr. Corsi's stuff. And you know, we're a little bit more irreverent than Doc's show. We're a little more casual, you know, have a little fun. But we focus on making the mainstream media look bad, and it's not real hard to do, you know. So, everybody, we got a new guy in town here tonight. This is the guy that... he's our road warrior guy. He's going to be repping Corsi Nation to the trucker community. And he's going to be kind of liaison for us, making sure that we know what the truckers are doing and they know what we're doing, all that kind of stuff. He's a real good guy. I've known him for a long time, and he's a Marine. So introduce yourself.
Hi, this is Bandit. Like Brainstorm said, I was a Marine from 90 to 94. Been trucking ever since. Good to be here.
Well, it's nice to have you. We got Army Wife come in. She's muted right now. I know she was having some problems with her microphone. You get those mic problems worked out, Army Wife?
I'm not sure, but we're still working on it. So if I start squeaking, just let me know.
Okay, well, you sound good so far. So,
okay, awesome.
So yeah, Army Wife here. She's running up our military stuff. She's focusing more specifically on the military aspects and helping vets out and learning some of the things from the military community that we might do. We are even talking about doing some like security preps and stuff on Corsi Nation. Maybe doing some situational awareness and that kind of stuff that the military might help our other listeners out with learning about some of that stuff.
Yep, that's fantastic stuff. Great info.
Yeah, now we got CD Camp, Doc CD Camp.
Right, and I go by the handle Dr. CD Camp on the Corsi Nation stuff and other places. And I've been helping Dr. Corsi the last couple of months, helping take a look at volunteer requests, make sure that anybody that wants to be involved is on the same wavelength as the values that line up with our mission. And then I align people so that the different initiatives that we've launched when it comes to citizen journalism or taking care of memes and graphics or doing whatever are properly grouped together with a champion that can help guide them through the process. And so far so good, and we're expanding every day.
And he's real good at herding squirrels, just so you know. He can herd squirrels real, like a boss. Sorry. Next is Jax.
Hi, I'm Jaxer Wild.
And she is wild.
I don't do much. I just kind of hang out. I'm a kind of menace to society. That's my job. And I have fun with it.
She's a happy squirrel. Frolicking in the leaves, sneaking around corners, and managing our website, Corsi Nation. So, yeah. So I'm going to cut to that screen, actually. Maybe we can get the right screen if I get my navigation here going, right? Okay, so this is, let me see. There we go. Finally. There we go. So, this is the Corsi Nation website that we're talking about. Corsi Nation is a website that we all kind of, well, see, I guess Dr. Corsi on his YouTube channel, he kind of came to this idea gradually as the idea formed, and when he put out some requests for people to help him out with it, you know, and people gave him some emails, and next thing you know, we have a website on our hands, a whole new set of responsibilities to take care of. But this is, I mean, the main focus here is citizen journalism, even though it's not overtly displayed on this. But if you go into the forum section, which is a fairly recent addition to this website, the forum has little workshop stuff and topics and things. So you can sign in here and talk about whatever issues. Where does it say? Recent forum topics, recent topics forum. Where's the workshop thingy?
You have to go into the index.
Where's the index?
You go at the top in the menu.
Index. There we go. See, here I am trying to show you around, and I don't know my way around myself. So there it is. Introduction.
And if you log in, there's a login tab at the top there. If you go there and you don't have an account, you can create your account there so you can post.
Interesting. So what can we post? What can we talk about? Jax.
I don't know.
Stuff. We got
stuff.
Midterm elections, presidential rallies,
anything
news.
you guys want, it just keep it so it will be stuff that your grandma could look at.
Got prayer warrior section here. Iran.
But we do want to hear from you guys. We want to know what you guys are thinking, and we want to know where you guys would like us to go.
Suggestion
and what we can
box.
help you with.
Right. Ideas. So, okay, let's look at the general chat, just so you can pop in here, maybe in the Corsi Nation chat, and you just stop in there and say hi. You don't have to have anything particularly you need to say. Right. Just introduce yourself.
We do want to hear from you.
We're trying to build a community, because one thing keep in mind, all this mainstream media lies. It's contextual. It's like this is part of a military sort of organized warfare against the American people. They are intentionally trying to deceive us, and they're warping our information flow so that they can control our behavior. This is like serious warfare, and that's part of the great revelation of what's going on right now, is that the mainstream media really is the opposition party, and they've been at war with the American people for a while now. And so independent media and citizen journalism is the way that we can fight back. And it's true that we are being censored, but here's a chance, at least on Corsi Nation, we're not going to censor it. Well, in certain ways it is censorship. We want you to stay civil, things like that. But in terms of the content of the ideas, in terms of being able to represent a thought, you can say what you mean, and you can make your arguments. And hopefully, here's another part of the mind control, is that it's only part of it that they are controlling the information flow. The other part of it is anybody who doesn't toe that line that they're trying to push, they exclude you, they marginalize you, they make you feel crazy, like conspiracy theory. It's like, yeah, I like conspiracy theories. I think they're cool. But they're going to try to make me feel like I'm weird and stuff. And I do. I feel like I'm weird, but I kind of like it. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling. Anyway, we'll go back to, what was that other page we had? Just a minute ago. We should probably have one just on conspiracy theories generally, but...
Well, I can put one in if you need it.
Yeah, she's flexible. But this is the one that I took personal interest in, is the citizen journalism thing, because this area here, we're going to start to push participation in empowering, citizens' voices. So there's different aspects to this. Like, so how do you conduct research? How do you test for the reliability of the sources that you're going to utilize? And so, and part of that too is not just about trusting or not trusting a given source. It's also about being able to formulate your own opinions about these things. You take a little piece of information here and there, and you can start to paint your own picture. You can start to get your own vision of what's going on. And so, once you get a kind of idea, then you can figure out what kind of questions you want to ask. Because so you picture it like this, that there's some kind of Coke versus Pepsi sort of debate that they're instigating in media, and then everybody's fighting about this and that sort of hot button issue. Well, who decided that that's even the topic we should be discussing? See, the way that they frame the debate, that's already controlling us. We have to be capable of asking our own questions. Even before you start asking about which conclusion you reach, which questions are we even asking? So start figuring out what your big picture is, how that affects your personal values and what you want to see in the world, and learn to ask questions. And then we get into the production phase when you're like, I got something to say. And so I'm going to maybe write a tweet about it, or I'm going to write a blog post on it or something like that. So that's part of the production phase. And you can even take that sort of blog and convert that into a video, and and they're meme making and stuff like that. So you're producing things that you're getting some word out and stuff like that. And then later on, we have a marketing thing. So once you get some kind of product that you build up as a citizen journalist, then you have to learn about how to disseminate that to all the various platforms. So anyway, there's nobody here that's truly an expert in being a citizen journalist. But if we all pool our resources and use what we do know, and we can help each other learn, tips and tricks that work around the webs, and then this other page, the Teachers Lounge, I want people with, legacy media experience there to act as mentors for our citizen journalists, our would-be citizen journalists, and they can give pointers and stuff like that. And I want those people with legacy media experience to hang out in the Teachers Lounge and figure out how they can be mentors to help the rest of us kind of get up to speed with what they do. So, enough with the Corsi Nation stuff. Let's move on to the news. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea.
Go for it.
Before we go too far, and I know we haven't had a chance to look at it, but Brian Ray brought up a good question, and he wants to know when President Trump is going to address the Fannie Mae issue.
I just threw a link up there to an article by American Banker that addresses that very thing. So it's in the chat right now.
Thanks, Dr. Camp.
Let me see here. I got to change my properties here. I'm doing a little tech editing.
Bottom line, what this is all done to address is back in 2008 when the financial crisis hit, the government moved in, took over Fannie and Freddie and a lot of what they were doing. And naturally, whenever that happens, it goes exactly the wrong direction based on what is presented and what is desired. And so now Trump has come up with a plan to walk us out of that nightmare, and he's starting to unravel it right now. Ben Carson, Secretary Carson, is involved in helping this happen, and it's going to be done in stages. I think it will be a one step at a time type of a thing, because there's so much uncertainty right now in not only the housing market and what's going on with loans and things coming out of Fannie and Freddie, but also then what's going to happen with the general economy. So it's a one tentacle of a giant octopus that needs to be dealt with, and there is a plan. It's in motion. It'll be one step at a time.
Great. That's good to know. Thanks.
So, how is everybody? What are we doing? We got, Oklahoma, Arizona. I think it was a Florida thing. It results in that too. And by the way, everybody, this is this website this is an news aggregator that I use, spidr.today. This is just a way of kind of getting the big picture of what stories are being pushed by the mainstream media. Because it ranks it according to the number of sources that they're monitoring when they cover something. Let's get this one. You'll get to pull up this Breitbart article quick and see what they have to say about this DeSantis business. Tim Carney, DeSantis deserves a mulligan. Ridiculous to assume everything a Republican says is racist. I mean, isn't that obvious? I mean, come on. Mulligan's a golfing term, huh? Do we have any golfers in the house?
Yes, right here.
Tell us about
it's interesting that they're saying that from CNN when Jeffrey Toobin came out and did a rant about Antifa and alleged that all the Antifa members are black, and therefore Trump is a racist for saying anything against Antifa, when it turns out that the vast majority of members of the Antifa movement are white. So not only did Jeffrey Toobin have absolutely no idea what he was talking about, he then used it to throw mud at Trump, and none of it's going to stick.
All about the narrative. All about the narrative. All about the narrative.
And the image, Got to have the right image, because they're just trying to make Trump look bad so that they can get the midterms going and have some kind of justification for impeachment, even though nothing that he's done is in any way criminal, let alone impeachable. So, but
and they have to attack DeSantis now, because DeSantis was down double digits just a while back in that race, the primary race in Florida. And as soon as Trump came out and started talking, he had this rally in Florida, and started talking about DeSantis. DeSantis then quickly overcame the competition and won by 20 points over his Republican competitor. And when you take a look at the number of Republicans that voted, over 900,000 for DeSantis, and the number of voters that voted for the Democrat winner, 400,000, doesn't bode well for the general election. And it appears that DeSantis will become the next governor of Florida.
I searched for DeSantis and a bunch of guns came up. What's going on there?
Well, you know that Florida now is immersed in gun issues thanks to the young Hog Wild gentleman down there who came out, made himself very famous right after the school shooting down in Florida. It just happened to take place in Broward County, which is Debbie Wasserman Schultz's backyard.
Oh, the FBI guy's kid.
Everything is guns, guns, guns now.
And the FBI's kid, the crisis actor guy.
Correct.
Yeah, and there's actually down here in Florida, there's actually
David Hogue.
That's the guy. Well, I like to call him Hog Wild.
Oh, you're being generous there.
There's a picture. We can get behind that picture, right?
And so, John Adams, you were saying?
Yeah, down here in Florida, there's an absolute move to try to control the guns, and it started in Broward County. And I believe that not everybody is up and up in Broward County, and that includes the sheriff and other things that are there. Obviously, that's my personal opinion, but there are lots of things that have been going on down there that really question why and how these people are showing up and why it was all set up there. It is no accident that these same players, David Hogg, etc., et al., and all the other people that are there in Broward County are trying to stir up this problem, and Schultz is down there as well. So it's pretty obvious to most of us that live down here that are red-pilled that we can see what's kind of going on, but there has to be a lot of people in Florida wake up, so keep your prayers coming. Wake up, wake up, wake up for the midterms.
But what's the deal about, so Trump is, advocating for the DeSantis cause or whatever. So, and then now everybody gets upset with Trump because he's supporting DeSantis.
No, it's kind of the other way around. They're trying to do whatever they can to damage DeSantis before the general election, hoping that a miracle will happen and the Democrat candidate will win. Chances are very low, but they have no other attack plan. They have to tear him down.
And as well as the voting, the voting machine. So, there's a lot of that stuff that's going on. So, plus Florida is such a swing state. Always been. It's been,
right.
One of the major swing states. So that's why there's so much attention being put on it right now. And
Ever
Soros
since
threw a lot of.
Florida's got its a target on its back.
Yeah, exactly. So Soros, how much money did he throw at that Democratic campaign? A lot.
Millions.
That's the state of the hanging Chad, right?
Yes, it's the state of the hanging Chad.
Yeah, Chad's already been hung, so they don't have to worry about that anymore.
Well, they should put that on the license plate.
Hang Chad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The home of the hanging Chad.
Mm-hmm. So
I'd rather have a bucket of hanging Chad than a barrel of fake ballots cast with a Soros electronic machine.
Oh, right. Amen to that one.
What other stories
with
are
all the seniors down here? A lot of the movement to try to get the dead to vote is also prevalent.
Those zombie voters just won't give up.
Well, it's like a retirement village down there. A lot of those, there's whole cities down there that's just full of retired people.
That is correct.
It's like very unnatural. I remember
that is also correct.
I had a job there after high school. I went down there to this little city, and I worked for a guy that installed garage doors. And he not only specialized in garage doors, but specifically the garage doors that were built for the little golf courts of this retirement village. So they had these half-size garage doors on that half-size garage next to the main garage. So it's like these rich people with a lot of money. They go down there and hang out together and I don't know if they actually golf or just drive the golf carts around, because they have streets. They got the regular streets, and then there's like these little teeny streets right next to it where the golf carts go up and down. They have their little miniature stop signs and stuff.
Unfortunately, it's a lot of New York liberals that maintain their New York residence, create a retirement residence in Florida, go back and forth and vote in both states.
Yeah, they're
Wow.
called
Wow.
snowbirds down here.
Yes.
Yeah, we have those here
in fact,
in
we're getting
Utah
close to
too.
the time when they should all be heading south again. They usually come towards around Thanksgiving, a little before November, beginning of November, and they stay until it starts to get too hot.
So they'll either vote absentee in New York and walk into the polls at Florida, or vice versa.
That can't be legal. How do they get away with that?
It's how do you stop them when our voting controls are so loose and geared towards allowing illegals and others, criminals and so on, to vote? And if you ever go to a polling place, at least in California, they are overwhelmingly manned by people with ponytails and
I know that crew.
and vote for Nancy stickers.
Over Nancy.
The
Oh
people
my
that
gosh.
hang out on college campuses, I know those people with their Birkenstocks.
That's the ones.
Well, I guess these days it's the goatee and the safety glasses and the flannel shirts and stuff. Because it's ironic. Put that in quotes.
It's there isn't one answer to the voter problems that we have, the voter fraud. It's a multi-pronged process that has been driven off the edge by the left going back decades, and it's a combination of illegal voting, the criminals voting. Hillary Clinton was pushing through legislation to have felons enabled to vote under certain circumstances. I can't remember what it was, after a certain number of years or whatever. And then what they're doing with open borders and allowing everybody to come in, and in California, they're issuing illegals driver's licenses, and that's one of the primary documents you need in order to get a voter ID card. And in addition to that, when you go into a DMV, a Department of Motor Vehicles office in California, and you apply for a driver's license, they hand you a form so that you can apply to vote. So the illegals come up here. They don't know that they're not legal to vote, because when they go in and get their they're now legal driver's license, even though they are illegal, they are given a form to fill out to be able to vote.
It's all very convoluted.
I don't automatically blame all the illegals. The system has been. Why do you think that California?
Well, sure, yeah. I mean,
There's nobody in the legislature that's a Republican anymore.
it's such a temptation to take advantage of the system the way that it's laid out. But this is a hubbub, right? So right now, because of this thing about him saying we shouldn't monkey this up, because we know what he really was going to say there when he was trying to cover up what he really wanted to say, because that's not an appropriate word for his base. But but the Democrats try to paint this as if it's a racist comment. And so to me, it seems like obviously this is their racism and their projection of the way that they're associating this phrase. Because I look at that phrase and I see something entirely different.
Hey, Brainstorm.
Yes, sir.
You can back me up on this. I had never, ever heard of absentee ballots until I was in the Marine Corps. And my understanding was they were mainly for military who were not in their hometown during an election. Now, during Obama's second term, they pushed the heck out of absentee ballots in Iowa. I mean, they pushed it for the elderly, for anybody. And I'm just saying that it left the door open for some pretty shady stuff.
Yeah, including the fact that they wouldn't even count them when they came in.
There you go.
So
Right, and in the 2000 elections, one of the big sticking points was that the Democrats were trying to hold up the counting of the military ballots that were coming in from overseas,
I
knowing
remember
that
that.
if they were all counted, that they were going to go in Bush's favor and Gore's disfavor. So they attempted to try to prevent them from being unsealed and counted.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that whole thing. That's right. Wow. It kind of puts things in perspective. This has been going on for quite a while.
Right. And the absentee ballots are a way then to create illegal voting, because when Grandpa, the Carter supporter, dies and the ballot keeps coming in, then all you have to do is act like your grandpa and keep sending it in on his behalf. And trust me, I live in California. My father-in-law was living with me. He was a Carter Democrat. He passed away. I got the ballot in the next election with his name on it, and I wrote boldly across it, deceased. And the next election cycle, another one showed up.
And that's just another case where, you know, people they're so tempted to this. You know, it's like, I mean, how can you avoid the temptation to take advantage of that? That's the question, right?
It's not a temptation; it's a tactic. They're doing this on purpose. This is Saul Alinsky tactics. If you can't win fair, find a way to win by cheating.
But they're trying to tempt the voters into doing something which is immoral, or, you know, so they're trying to do something.
If you have no morals, nothing is immoral.
That's actually right. I mean, if nothing, say that again, because it can go the other way too. And then
if you have no morals, you don't think anything is immoral.
That's correct.
Trust me, I was raised with diehard leftists as my best friend and his family. And it was perfectly obvious they could care less what was done as long as Jimmy Carter, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton prevail. That's all they cared about.
By any means necessary.
Any means necessary. Because they were keeping the Nazis out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
We got
the bottom line is everybody's got to get out and vote.
Yeah. In the chat, someone Enid posted that Charles Ortel just said that in New Mexico, 3 of the 5 defendants were let off on a technicality.
Yeah, the judge let him out. That news hit earlier today, that they have now been released without charge, I understand. One of those, the ringleader of that little band of crazies out in the desert in New Mexico, was either the son or the nephew of one of the bombers, the original Twin Towers bombing.
Right.
Yeah, so he was raised into this. They're completely ignoring the Muslim component to that entire story.
Yep, they have been downplaying it, which is quite disturbing.
Yep.
And it's scary at the same time. It's like they don't care if we get another 9/11 or, you know.
Well, any other comments you want to make on this story, this DeSantis issue? I think we've covered it. So moving on to the next one.
Go, Ron, go.
Rob Porter. Trump asked Rob Porter. What's this say? This is The Hill. Trump asked Rob Porter last year. What's the mic open there? Who is that? Okay.
So what that's all about is McGahn has made it known that in the fall he is going to leave his post as part of the legal team for Donald Trump. And Porter is someone that President Trump has multiple times in the past requested to join the legal team. So the press now is trying to figure out if McGahn is leaving, who's going to replace him. That's what that's all about.
Okay. So we got New York Times reported what did Don McGahn to leave White House. Oh, I got this paywall thingy. Can't use the New York Times source. So Trump announced in a tweet Wednesday morning. We got some audio feedback here. It keeps Army wife. Okay. Trump announced in a tweet Wednesday morning that McGahn will depart the White House after Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation. So is that something that we have any confidence in, that Brett Kavanaugh is going to be confirmed?
I think he will. I don't see any reason why not. I just think it's a Democrat horse and pony show at this point.
There will actually be some Democrats that are going to step over the line and vote for him.
Yeah.
Not a bunch, but a few, just because they're in states that Trump took big time, and they are up for re-election.
Right.
And
That's right.
if they don't back Kavanaugh, there will be a backlash.
Trump, it's the last paragraph here. Trump later claimed to have allowed McGahn, is that what he's McGahn, and other members of the administration to fully cooperate with Mueller, whose investigation the president has regularly decried as a witch hunt and a hoax. And there's still that other possibility with that Russia investigation with Mueller that we don't really know what kind of results he's got yet. We don't know really what he's looking into. I mean, as far as everybody's concerned, you know, this is all about Trump-Russia collusion, but he's been at this for an awful long time. And, you know, there's only so much, you know, making yourself look busy you can do. I mean, he must be doing something. And the question is, like, if he's not doing what everybody thinks he's doing, what is he doing?
Well, he tried to make ham sandwiches, and that didn't work. So
Sandwiches.
turkey sandwiches.
I want a sandwich with pickles on it.
He's been slathering them with Russian dressing, and that hasn't worked. So who knows what he's going to come up with. Variation of a theme. If you've seen that cartoon, there's two people. One of them is dressed as if it's an elephant Republican image, and another guy standing with a club, and the elephant is standing next to Donald Trump and points at this mass of red goo on the floor and says, "What in the world is that?" And Trump says, "Well, that used to be a dead horse."
Oh yeah,
I saw that.
Which
Mueller beating a dead horse to the pulp.
Yeah, but who was the cartoonist?
I don't remember.
I can't remember who that was. I remember that though.
But that's what's happening. He's going to keep beating that pile of flesh, even if you can't even recognize what it is anymore.
It's getting to that point. I mean, it's taking on such a mutation. You know, it went from collusion to obstruction to the next thing now, which is anybody that's associated with Donald Trump.
Tax
like
evasion.
Manafort.
Next step is, did anybody like Paul Manafort steal bubble gum from the corner drugstore when they were a kid?
Exactly.
Okay. So next big story we got. Well, see, there's all these littler stories, and this is one of the things that you got to watch for. If all the big news outlets are pushing these same themes, one of the questions that comes up is, what are they not talking about? Because if they, you know, what are the things that fewer sources actually could be potentially more important news, because they're trying to push their story. What stories are they trying to cover up? So we'll get to that. We'll go back down there. But okay, the other big story that they're trying to push is about people paying respects to John McCain family, because everybody wants to think that McCain's a hero.
And this is one of those minefields where you've got somebody that was in the military and came from a military family, and there's two completely divided opinions about the family heritage and McCain's service. And so no matter what you do on this one, I think Trump did the respectful thing to begin with, was to aim his respects to the family. And then they came after him because he didn't say specifically something patting John McCain on the back. If you look at what John McCain has done to the Republican Party the entire time he's been a senator from Arizona, even going back to the days where he had a controversy over accepting campaign money back in the 70s or 80s, and he didn't look good through that. Ever since he came out after 2001 and came out against anything Republicans were doing, which just coincidentally connected to the time that he started receiving donations from George Soros, then you know, people are going to have different opinions about this guy.
So what year did you say he was starting to get paid by Soros?
2001. That's when his approach on things seemed to shift dramatically after that.
Could wonder what that could be.
Oh, okay. That I was unaware of. I didn't realize he had that link to Soros.
Soros will taint anybody he can get his claws on. And if you're willing to accept the money and then do what you're asked to do by the puppet master, then it's off to the races.
Yeah, and I suppose we should mention the fact that this is a sensitive issue for military people, because a lot of, military guys, I mean, frankly, the hierarchy, the chain of command, is definitely an essential part of being in the military, but they don't necessarily have enough time to keep up on the news and stuff and find out the kind of stuff that we were paying attention to here. And so what they see is, here's John McCain, military guy. They're more inclined to view ex-military as noble or self-sacrificing or whatever, and so they're going to be upset when you start talking about McCain in a negative light. But
the truth tends to get through the ranks.
Yeah,
the rank and file tend to end up with the truth of the matter. And most of the time when you're talking officers, the respect disappeared if they weren't a true grunt of an officer.
Yeah, what am I?
You guys you guys in the military, I mean, especially in the Marines, right? You have a really strong sense of honor and code, right?
Absolutely.
So anybody like an officer or whomever that would step outside of that line pretty much has their fate sealed. I mean, with the rank and file, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I've heard as well. So.
Yes. And when I was in, we had the utmost respect for officers who would get their hands dirty, who would lead by example. The ones that were young and dumb and didn't know how to control their people and came in and just kind of bossed you around, you had no respect for. The ones who came in and rolled up their sleeves and actually, would get out of line and pick up cigarette butts with you and talk to you, those are the ones that you respected and would do anything for.
I don't know. I had one of my division officers was he was a funny guy. I mean, he did his. Because the thing about officers is you can pretty much become an officer if you have a college degree in almost any subject. And,
yep.
And one of my division officers, he was in charge of an engineering department or a division, and his degree was in Asian art. And it's like we're like, in what way does this qualify him to be our superior? How does Asian art? Does he tell us anything about military strategies or, operations or? I mean, definitely not engineering. I mean, we had significantly more training than he did, and he was our boss. It was very hard to give him any respect.
Well, I can imagine the only time that might be good is if he was over in the stationed somewhere in Japan or Asia and stuff like that, and the guy was a martial artist, then maybe the art might help out.
This guy was definitely not that kind of artist. No.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No Bushido code or anything of the code of the warrior over there. Huh?
No, he had a fat butt. We'll just put it bluntly.
Oh my gosh.
You Navy boys.
Well, and that, in the military, that goes way back. You go back to World War II with Omar Bradley, who was revered by his troops because he was just the kind of guy you're describing, Bandit. He was the officer who his men. He came up a lot through the ranks and really never forgot what it was like to be in the trenches. And then you see some of these other officers that look down on their men or don't do well by them, or even put them in danger. To the folks that.
Wasn't Bradley
became an issue in Vietnam? Sorry, John Adams.
Oh no, wasn't Bradley referred to? He had a moniker in World War II as the GI General.
Yeah, Soldiers General, GI General. Yes. So there's a tradition for that all the way back.
Okay, so this is the Voice of America article on it, and it's just. It seems to be pretty straightforward journalism. They're not trying to pump them up or anything. But let's see what else we got here for sources. Let's see CNN. That's going to be reliable. Reliable news, CNN. Mentioning this Russell building. I think they wanted to rename it after him. I hate these automated play video thingies. Shut this video.
It's interesting how these buildings all get renamed for guys that are, from the power elite, or
as corrupt as hell in some way or another.
Like Dulles Airport,
Rockefeller Foundations, and
exactly Rockefeller Center, Dulles Airport,
LaGuardia,
right? Bush Intercontinental Airport.
Yep.
Maybe they just put their name on the stuff where there's like underground tunnels and stuff, just to remind them.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Who was the governor from Illinois, the one that's in prison right now?
Blagojevich or something like that?
Yeah, Blagojevich. He put his name on all the toll roads. No, true story. True story.
Yeah. So what is it? They're funding his all the tolls are going out in his name or something.
Yeah, maybe he's got a GoFundMe account or something.
Yeah. It involves every driver on the in the highways in Illinois.
Yeah, especially big trucks. Well, what was the bill that was just named the John McCain bill?
I don't know. Good question.
I swear that something to do with vets, and it was named the John McCain bill.
We're looking news. Roll and passing defense bill. Political.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Is that the one, HR 5515? The John S. McCain National Defense Authorization
this is a
Act?
Fox News report. Let's see what this says. Trying to skim through here quickly. Yeah, it's a bio stuff. Where's the bill? How would you do prisoner of war? I'm not seeing. Where's the mention of the bill?
Oh yeah, okay. I think they are referring to the HR 5515, National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2019.
Yeah,
named for him.
2018.
Yes.
Oh, fiscal year 2019. You said.
Correct. Yes, fiscal year 2019. And it looked like it was the 115th Congress at the second session authorized it, that the act be entitled the John S. McCain National Defense Authorization Act.
Okay.
Yes.
Here I see it in the Yahoo Finance. Let's see what that says. It's announced August 15 from Cleveland, saying that August 13, President Trump signed the John S. McCain National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2019, which authorizes appropriations and sets forth policies for Department of Defense. Wouldn't it be great irony that we name the bill after John McCain and give all the funding that the military needs? It's kind of like, during the midterms coming up here, I'm going to be wearing purple, so you know. You guys know the reference? Kind of.
Yeah, what was the reference?
Sorry. Soros, there for a while when Trump got, when he was first in office, when he was first inaugurated, he had a bunch of people wearing purple, and that was supposed to be some kind of Soros signal to the elites that they should be resisting. Anyway, the purple's it's their color code thing. It's like calling the elites to arms or something.
It's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, and I like those. So
yeah, I know.
I'm gonna stick my tongue out at you.
I can't see it.
We don't believe in conspiracy theories. As Lionel says, we're conspiracy analysts.
Oh, I don't care. I'll go ahead and entertain those conspiracy theories about aliens too. I'm all into that. Antarctica, I want to know what's going on in Antarctica. Do they have
other than penguins?
Well, do they have like some secret underground base there where they launch alien spacecraft into the
Yeah.
Where?
You saw the pyramids under the ice, right?
Not personally, no, but
You saw the pictures of the pyramids under the ice?
no.
Oh, well, there's pyramids under the ice.
Oh, there was
You gotta
a lot.
look. You gotta know where to look.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Who was it? It was a bunch of the guys from the Senate or the House actually went down there, and they kind of covered it up. They took a trip down to Antarctica.
Really?
Oh yeah, where they discovered all this.
Wow.
It's been known for decades. All this has been covered up.
Well, some of those theories talk about how the Nazis went down there after the war and how the Nazis didn't ever lose the war. They just went to Antarctica, and then everybody else kind of went down there and worked under them, and they got all those Nazi bases down there. They got these drills that work with heat. They got like nuclear powered drills or something like that that can
You've
melt
been
through
reading
anything.
Clive Cussler.
I've been reading lots of stuff. I don't necessarily keep track of who they are.
Well, Clive Cussler is a lot of fiction, but anyway, go ahead.
Sometimes fiction is informed by reality.
You're right. You're right.
To say what you know. It's easier to tell them the truth and come up with some other scenario. Let's just pretend that it's fiction and have a hit sci-fi show like Alien. It's true. Alien versus Predator. That is probably a true story. Definitely Men in Black. I am totally convinced that Men in Black is a true story.
I have to believe. Yeah, Men in Black is a true story. Sorry, I have to back brain on that one.
And the guy that ends up in the post office, that's what's going on with the post office right there, because they all used to be in the Men in Black thing.
Yes, yeah, and that's totally believable too, especially if you saw My Mailman. So.
Okay, let's look at alternate just real quick. I mean, alternate. You just know that this is going to be a reliable source, don't you? Can you feel it?
Oh yes, that one. Yeah, let's go for it.
Senate Republicans are leaning toward honoring long-dead white supremacist over John McCain. See, they come right out with their bias. They don't just beat around the bush.
Yeah.
This is... And actually, I think the aliens and the Antarctica story is much more believable than the kind of conspiracy theories these guys come up with.
Like what?
Like the opponent, this long dead white supremacist over John McCain. I don't know who they're talking about, but I'm immediately like, no, I don't believe that he's actually a white supremacist. I know that white supremacists do exist, but it's...
wasn't that Robert Byrd? He's long dead, and he was in the KKK.
Yeah, well, that's Hillary's mentor.
Kiss and tell.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like the details. I like the big picture stuff. I don't like it when people, but some people like the details. That's what I keep CD Camp around here for, is because he's into the details. I don't know. It's like whatever.
Well, speaking of details, that my brain has caught up with my tongue, and I was talking about the original scandal that almost cost John McCain his career, and it was the Keating 5 scandal back in 1989. A bank had gone belly up, and billions of dollars were involved, and there was corruption immediately to deal with it. And there were 4 Democrat senators and 1 Republican senator that were accused in all of the wrongdoing, and that one Republican was
John McCain.
And there was a
got to find some good
book of fiction written about it, and it was called "How to Get Away with Murder."
Oh,
yeah, and that's fiction, right?
That was, but the Keating 5 fiasco was legitimate, and I think because 4 of the 5 were Democrats, I think that's why no action was taken. And so McCain got a pass because he was in a herd of buffaloes that they didn't want to take a shot at.
Well, he's probably the head buffalo.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Not to say that this is a conspiracy theory, but I think McCain's been conspiring. Let's see. What's he been conspiring? Yeah. We need better memes. Okay, you meme makers out there, make some memes. There's the meme with that picture. Once a traitor, always a traitor. Look at that, John McCain and Hillary smirking at each other. They probably want to lick each other's ears and stuff. It's a romance.
How am I supposed to take that?
Oh gosh! Oh, get me some bleach for my brain.
Oh, there's another McCain Hillary moment. They're sweeties.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Oh, we're on to the next story. We've had enough. This is riding my brain. Okay. FBI publicly disputing report that China hacked Hillary Clinton private email. Well, that's a good story.
Isn't it amazing how quickly they came out with a counter to the obvious that China, she left her server open. The Chinese hacked it.
Actually, they didn't hack it.
China didn't have to hack it. The Chinese took their portion of the documents they wanted, which was all of them, and made a hefty donation to the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah, but so this headline is actually true. No evidence the Clinton server was compromised. It wasn't compromised. She gave him the password.
Yep.
Well,
if it's unprotected, how could it be compromised?
Yeah. So they are actually telling the truth. It was not hacked.
But the serious part of it is that 18 to 20 American CIA agents, or not American, but CIA agents that were operating in China were either killed or thrown in prison immediately after the Chinese stole the data.
Okay, so we've got Benghazi, and now we've got China. How many other places has she done this? How many other people has she put at risk with this stupid email server?
Well, nobody should forget that one of the first scandals in the Clinton administration back in the 90s was called Chinagate. They were doing all kinds of mischief back then with China. It's continued to this day, and the only reason you don't know about it is because the Marxist screaming media is not going to tell you.
I think we've been affected by Trump. We like to name our enemies. Screaming media or yeah. Oh, it's fun. I love having Trump as a president because it's just so fun. he makes it's so fun the way he goes after people.
After that election, I finally had the desire to even listen to a president speak. I don't know how long I had waited to hear that. It's actually fun to listen to him speak, and the fact that he's going after these guys and everything else. I mean.
He was
entertainment.
When he was going through the election, a lot of the people that followed my page on Facebook were asking for me to put up the rallies that he was doing. So finally I relented and I did it. I wasn't really sure at that time, but I'm going to tell you, it only took me about 2 rallies and listening to him talk to realize that how much good he could do and how well he was at speaking. I'm the same way. I thoroughly enjoyed. I love him that he pokes. There's no prisoners taken with him. It's great.
Initially, back when the what do you call it, the caucuses, the Iowa caucuses, I was the guy in my little, I can't even remember the name of the precinct or whatever they call it. I was a guy in my precinct that stood up and made a case for Trump. And mostly my motivation is just I liked that he made all the right people angry. So, I passionately defended Trump for that. But anyway, now I can look back on it and I can feel very proud of being able to have done that. I feel like I've done my civic duty.
He's real.
Yeah, I'm so happy that I had that chance to give that.
The only reason that I even had the hesitation to begin with is because when he ran against Romney in 2012, I was really hoping that he would have given Romney a better fight than he did. And when he just bowed out all of a sudden, I was really disappointed. But when he ran again and then I listened to him, I was really glad that he was nominated, So,
well, he was talking about, it's like we're going to have so much winning that we're going to be sick of winning. I say that I've never enjoyed winning so much. This is so much fun.
It is fun, and so much fun seeing people get freaked out about us winning. It's like, yes.
Yeah, that image of that woman that's like screaming to the clouds. It's like,
oh, I know.
And everybody's crying because it's like, oh, come on.
And the fashion statements that this has brought out.
The pink hats and
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it seriously. I mean, you just look at it from the fashion. On one side, you've got the leftists in their pink hats, emulating female genitalia, and then on the other side, you have some very nice, fancy clothes that are being demonstrated, in the White House from Melania and Ivanka and everybody else, and it's just juxtaposition of these two are just incredible.
And what about Antifa running through the streets, all running amok, as Jax would say, and they're running through the streets, beating up perfectly innocent trash cans. This is unacceptable. What did those trash cans ever do to you?
Exactly.
Man,
in their do-rags and mufflers.
They got
my God,
that black suit thing that they wear. It's like, okay. This is the self-righteous portion of our show, where we can look down our noses at these people because it's fun.
Well, it's the whole consciousness. It's amazing to see all this stuff come out. I mean, we know it's there, but my God.
Oh, what is it? Cognitive dissonance?
Like, wow.
It's just like these people have lost their whole it's like they've taken their brain out and flushed it down the toilet and then retrieved it and tried to put it back in.
Well, they keep
I don't get it.
They keep doubling down on insanity, and just like every time they keep regurgitating, it sounds even more and more crazy. And I think it's really driving them literally insane to try to defend an impossible platform.
It puts new meaning. It puts new meaning into the phrase "your mother dropped you on your head." It really does.
But here's the dangerous thing about this. I mean, if you're looking at the policies from a lot of folks that are doing this, including even astrological portents or other stuff, according to what I'm seeing and hearing, it has the potential of getting worse than what it is now over the next 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
I know.
I mean, we have got to put out some kind of a spiritual defense against this. It's if what we're seing now,
what about crazy people?
Oh, good God!
Well,
God forbid.
Well, here
I want to know what they give to the Antifa people just before their rallies, because those people are 2 tacos shy of the combo platter. In fact, I don't even think the parsley's on the platter at that point. Because you ask them, why are you out here? They can't give you an answer. They can't tell you what they believe in and why they're there. All they say is, we hate Trump. Well, why do you hate Trump?
They point at Trump and say literally Hitler, and do their other stuff where they're trying to.
How is he Hitler? And then when you ask him, how is he Hitler?
There's your mistake. Do not try to speak rationally with these people. You're not going to get what's going to happen is that if you try to have an actual conversation with them, then you're going to end up just as insane as they are. So, be careful.
Yeah, and you have to remember that many of them are by an acting agency months in advance.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, a friend of mine and I hacked their website here about a year ago.
Good for you.
Hey.
Magic fingers.
You don't go saying that
really
stuff live and everything.
It wasn't really hacking. We downloaded the information off of their website. And
we're able to see what they had.
It was very interesting because they had training pamphlets and everything.
Was there password? I want to know that. Was there password?
Their password wasn't even it didn't even exist on the server. I mean, Brain, I could tell you how to do it. It was hilarious.
A whole new level of stupid.
It was. But they had training pamphlets up there and everything on how to hurt people.
Yeah.
It it's just disgusting.
Well,
They
you
have
see,
training camps.
well, you see the pictures that they post on Twitter and stuff like that. You know, all these Antifa people. You know, they go to these military training camps. They like to climb in the mountains and get themselves fit. And you just look at these guys, and it's like, these are the guys that we're supposed to be afraid of. Are you serious?
They're wearing pink leotards.
Are you kidding
And
me?
their mother kicked them out of their base. No, I'm not kidding you. No. Yeah, they're wearing pink leotards, and their mother kicked them out of the basement for the day. That's why they're there. You know, it's sad.
Yeah, but it's funny because you see the guys like I have Facebook friends that are they are fans of Antifa or whatever. You know, if they actually lived in a bigger,
do.
And so if we lived in a bigger city, they'd probably be joining in their little riots and stuff. But it's like, well, I don't know. It's and they, in their minds, these Antifa training grounds and stuff is like serious business, you know. But it's so hard to take it seriously. It's so hard just not to, like, you know, you realize you put those people in front of us, you're just encouraging us. You know, it's like this
waving the red
yeah,
flag
for the bull. It's like,
bull.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, like I said, they're very interesting people, and they're very. My favorite Twitter account is the Malibu Antifa. And sorry,
That's fine. I just, oh boy,
I love it when they duct tape the guy, the unicorn Antifa to the power supply box. I just
powered by rainbows and unicorns.
Exactly.
Well, guys, I think we've had our hour. We've had our fun. So it's about time that us secret squirrels have to be on our way. It's been a hoot. This is Brainstorm. Everybody say goodbye.
See you later. Thank you for joining us.
Adios.
Thanks for having me.
Everybody.
God bless.
Arrivederci.
Yeah, and all that stuff.